From our studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee. Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. I'm Jeff Thee, coming to you today from the Dickinson County Museum, right along Highway 9 and 71, right here in Spirit Lake. Mary Drier is here with me today. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, my goodness.
It's good to see you.
It's good to be taking a walk back in history here in the museum.
Yeah, or even a stroll back in time.
A stroll back in time. You've been here how long?
Just since March.
Oh, yeah, you're a newbie.
I am a newbie, just like you.
But you're not a newbie to the history of this area.
No, I've been a history geek of Lakes area history since I was about knee-high to a grasshopper. My family were early pioneers here.
I wanted to ask you about that because, you know, so many of us, a lot of us are transplants, you know, and, you know, to find someone whose family's been here that far back, now that's interesting.
It has been fascinating to me. My Norwegian great-grandparents immigrated in the my great-grandfather in the 1860s and my great-grandmother in the 1880s, and they settled around here. My great-grandfather up in Diamond Lake Township. He was here during the scourge of the grasshoppers that wiped out so many farmers, and then he eventually worked on the Queen when it was on Big Spirit Lake.
And we're talking the original Queen.
We are talking 1880s.
Yeah, steamship.
We really are. And he was a guard on the Isthmus during that time for the Orleans Hotel. Then he worked at the fish hatchery. So, you know, all this stuff just fascinates me.
That encompasses a lot of our history there.
It does. It does.
Now, have you heard the story about, and it was Aubrey LaFoy that told me this some time ago, but how the steamships would deliver mail along the lake, and if you had something you wanted picked up,
you wave the white flag, your hanky,
and they would come by and pick it up.
Oh, I wish I lived during that time.
Would that have been fun?
It would, and I've read, my grandfather had a cottage on Milford Beach, and I've read in the Okoboji Protective Association journals that his dock was long enough for the steamships to stop there. Can you imagine having personal service to your cottage?
I mean, it's just I bet they thought they were in the lap of luxury. They come right to my place.
I know, I know, just so cool.
And there's so many stories like that. You know, you and I were talking about, and you do this, where people come in and they've got stories about the area, and you'll grab your phone, because like we discussed before we got going, you know, when these people are gone and there's no one to tell that story anymore, so many of those tales are lost, and you hope that someone along the line picked up on it, but it's never like it is coming from the original person. Exactly.
I just love when people come in and tell stories, and sometimes they come in intentionally because I ask them. I've been asking a lot of our elders from the area to tell stories about businesses and things as part of the project we've got coming up. But then there are random folks who come into the museum totally out of the blue. I had one last week from, I think she was from Missouri, and she brought in this big bag and she started unpacking things. And in this were photos. In this were handwritten records of the O'Farrell family coming here to the lakes area.
Oh my goodness.
And talking to her was just amazing. And that's not the only time something like that has happened.
I bet you just get tickled with all
I just get so excited.
all the information that people have. And they come from Missouri. Generations and generations have built their memories here, came here as kids. Some haven't been back in decades.
Exactly.
But that memory is very bright and burns hot in their brain.
It does. It does. And they love to share, and they love to be listened to.
Yeah. Opportunity to learn a lot about it right here at the museum. And we were taking note of, as I told you, my wife was a hairstylist for years. No, she never worked with anything like that.
This is one of my favorite pieces here. It is a permanent wave machine, and believe it or not, this is electric. You would put these things, or the hairstylists would put these things all over your head to make waves, and then she'd plug it into the wall. And I always get an image of the Bride of Frankenstein when I see this thing. I mean, I wonder how many electrocutions happen because of this.
You know, sometimes you work with people that got wet hair. Let's add electricity to that.
Well,
what could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
Had an old dryer, hair dryer, and then of course the barber.
And we even have a sign from Hillary's barbershop.
Oh my goodness.
Here in Spirit Lake, Bill Hillary was a barber for years and years and years in the Antlers Hotel.
Right. It's just every square inch has history, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
And then one of the things I noticed right away as we walked in, and right here next to you, and these are the original Spirit Lake beacons from back to
1870 something.
Yes.
They're the real deal, Jeff. I mean, like most everybody else, I love to go online to find stories about my family and buildings and anything of interest in the area.
Yeah.
Go online and I can easily search for a name or a keyword or anything. But then I come to these and get the real deal newspaper that has the ads in it, and it's just amazing. And it's so easy to use your phone to take a picture of this, and it's got so much more character because it's the yellow paper.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Yeah. So,
and weren't the ads and even the writing of articles fun to read from 100 years ago or more?
they really were totally different than today.
Yeah.
I wish I had an example in front of me to show you, but I am continually learning things, like how important sexing chickens was back in the day.
Sure.
You know, just a random thing I'm learning.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to find.
You never know what you're going to find, and if you know anything of the or recent history of this area, it's amazing names you'll come across. And, boy, that family goes a long ways back.
Exactly.
You know? Yes.
Not only names, but you find out so much from even reading the social columns. You know, who had dinner with whom, and who poured tea, and that somebody's cousin came. Well, then in my own case, I hear that a cousin came, and I get all excited because then that's another name to search.
That's right.
To find out more.
Do you spend a lot of time searching, researching, trying to find more stories?
Oh, I do all the time.
Yeah.
And a big way I do that is through photographs. I've collected postcards from this area forever, and photos also. I am lucky enough to have my grandfather's postcard collection from the early 1900s, and also photos from a great uncle from that same area.
Oh my goodness.
Era. And they just intrigue me. I love looking at something and trying to figure out what it is now.
Yeah.
And I'm finding lots of other people feel the same way.
Oh yes, and as we were again speaking before, you know, you walk down the street with like an Aubrey LaFoy or someone who's been here for quite a while, and just one building can be one old building that currently is a jewelry store, and he can take you back decades and decades. And when I was a kid, that was a five and dime. It was a candy store. It was a livery. And you think of how many ownerships, how many businesses have been in that one spot over all these decades. Exactly.
And there are buildings here in Spirit Lake that had purposes back in the day that you would never guess. For instance, there's a chiropractor's office on Hill Avenue, right next to the Ruthven Locker.
Yeah.
That was a hatchery. It was Cook's Hatchery, believe it or not.
Can you believe it?
And there are still
hatching chickens right there on
it
Hill
was
Avenue.
a huge building. It was a huge business, and there are still vestiges of the operation up in the upstairs. I was lucky enough to get upstairs for a tour up there.
Oh, I bet.
And you don't smell chickens, but you do see some of the stuff that was used in the era when it was a chicken hatchery.
Now, have you ever been above the old bank where the Y recently and up above there?
I have not been. I would give my eye teeth to go up there.
You are in for a treat.
Because that was an opera house back in the day. And I do have a large photo of a production at the opera house, and it was just eloquent. It was like something you would see from a big city, is what it looked like.
Yeah. And some city offices up there. I've seen Pete Neri's name on a glass door, and you think, wow, you know, it's a shame that it's something people can't just go up and look at, you know. And
a lot of the buildings downtown are like that. For instance, Pete and his father Harry Neri were both attorneys, and they had offices in different places in different buildings throughout the decades here. And there have been all sorts of uses for the different buildings also. And a thing that a lot of people may not know is that quite a few of our buildings have been burned down. fire took a lot of our early structures.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
including...
was thinking of the Spencer fire. That's quite famous, but...
I've got photos from my uncle's album, actually, of when the Stevens Block burned. And the Stevens Block is the bank building, the YMCA building that you've been talking about.
Yes.
There was a big fire there. I think it was in 37. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the H.A. Miller store had a fire in it. The Beacon Block burned, where Bill Barrett's pool hall was.
Yeah. But things were built differently back then, with sprinklers and, to prevent that sort of thing.
And they probably had coal-fired furnaces and
a lot more common, I would suspect.
I think so. Yeah, and no smoke detectors.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, we've come a long way on that sort of thing. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But it's just also interesting. Like you say, it's a step back in time to walk in here. And now, have you scanned any of the old beacons at all to digitally, or are they just?
They're already scanned.
They're scanned. Everything is.
They are available online through all of our county libraries.
Okay.
Free of charge.
Well. See, now there's something everybody should know, including me, that because I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, and like if you would put in your name or your parents' names or whatever, you search it, and their names will be highlighted in the articles you find. So it's very easy then to find just the articles you want.
So you can kind of detail it to what you're looking for, whom you're looking for.
Yeah.
How sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I just my afternoon shot now.
Yeah, it's highly addictive.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And now, do you enjoy this, being able to share with people? And
this isn't a job for me.
Sure.
It's a passion, and I love talking with people and hearing stories and connecting people with each other. That's what's happening. This is starting to become a place to be, and we've got citizens who come in here just to visit, and just to visit with each other. Also, as part of our project for this stroll back in time that we're doing next week, many times over the past few months, I've gathered groups of elders together to tell stories and go back in time and say, oh, I remember when that building was this, and then someone else will say, no, it was this, and then a third person will say, well, no, I think it was this, and then there's this conversation that goes on. I had a huge map laid out of Hill Avenue and Lake Street, showing the different buildings, and we just write in the names of the different businesses in there, and these people had so much fun, and they were so helpful.
Oh yeah, and it's fun to see the pictures when Hill Avenue was a dirt road.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, Mary, and you've got a wonderful event tomorrow going on here. Yes.
Time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah, time flies. We're hosting our stroll back in time. It has turned into a really magnificent event that has brought so many people together. That's what excites me the most about this, is the relationships that have been built and the stories that have been told and the people that enjoy being with each other for this, and all the sharing that has happened. We're inviting people to come to the museum first, and here we have some special displays. We will have maps that showing the businesses that are participating, so that you'll know where to go when you stroll downtown. We will have historical book sales here. Also at 5:30, the Spirit of Harmony Chorus is going to be singing here. And then at 6:30, the Boji Strummers are going to be here. And of course, both groups are going to be doing old tunes.
Yes, of course.
And my favorite part of this whole thing is also that we have some of our elders coming to teach youngins like you and me how to do things like hand shell corn, to use a hand wood drill, sit up in a covered wagon and hear stories of life in a covered wagon, and just do different things like that. And we have storytellers set up throughout the museum that will just be engaging conversation with each of the visitors that come in. And it's a time where, our motto these days is Dickinson County Museum, where history lives. This evening is one where it is shining bright.
Vibrantly
where
alive.
History lives. And that's what we hope for this museum, is that it is a place where you can see, you can see an old swimming suit on the wall. Like there. And yeah, it's a great swimming suit. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But what would be really cool would be to know what it felt like to wear one of those, to know what happened to it when it got wet. I mean, can you imagine a wool swimming suit getting wet?
I can't. No, I can't.
I don't want to. I don't even want to think about that.
It's warm enough out there today.
And to know that your grandma had one just like that. That connection is what makes this history live.
And I know what that experience was for my grandmother. You know, I've heard it firsthand.
Exactly.
It's such a connector.
It is.
History.
It is.
I'm looking at the part of the stair rail of the old Dickinson County, and you've got quite a history with that.
It's so cool. My paternal grandma was Dickinson County recorder in the 1920s, and so I know she walked up and down those steps a gazillion times, and so every time I walk by that, I rub my hands on the railing, and I remember my grandma doing the same thing.
That's
and it's
right.
just awesome.
But when it's there and for your hand to touch, I mean, before there was internet and you had to go in and pay your property taxes and register your vehicle, most of the Dickinson County residents at one time or another walked up and down with their hand on that rail, and you've got a connection then with lots of people.
And you know what, Jeff, with the stair rail there, that is a portal into the past. It's a portal into your story, into my story, and into the connection between us.
Yes.
And that's what is so cool about all these artifacts we have here. They're portals.
And with today's technology, stepping out of that back in time, but you can connect this through your Facebook and people emailing in. You know, I lived there in the 1960s, and you know, all of a sudden you've got all these, and they're a click away. No one has to travel.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, it's so nice.
And they can share with their friends. Just last night I posted a photo of Wayne Northey, who's one of our resident farming experts who's going to be teaching us all how to shell corn tomorrow.
And a former supervisor as well.
I'd forgotten that.
Yes.
And Wayne has the biggest smile on earth. And I posted this photo on Facebook and told people he was going to be here. There have been over 3,000 hits on that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
A smile from Wayne or Margaret will make your day.
Exactly. A story, even 2 days.
That's right. You coast into the weekend at that point. Yes.
Exactly.
So what hours are you open, and the name of your Facebook page and all that, Mary?
Our Facebook page is just Dickinson County Museum, and we are super active on that page. That's how you really find out what's going on day to day here at the museum and our special events. Our website is www.dickinsoncountymuseum.org, and that has been updated by the No Boundaries students of the Okoboji High School. And it's got a lot of photos of things here, and we'll be adding to it all the time.
I love those No Boundaries students. They really know no boundaries. And
that's right. Yeah. They really have really been integral in bringing our media services to the 21st century here, and it's brought the spark of life. And they're the ones who thought of the History Lives logo.
They got it all figured out at that young age. How about that?
They do, and they're fun to be with. And they're fun to be with. And we're open 12 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. Through Labor Day, and we'll be deciding tomorrow what hours we're going to be open during the winter season. Since this is a community museum, I feel it's important to be open year-round.
Yes.
At least some. So, and we have ongoing groups. I'm happy to go to care facilities and whatever. I'm going to Kilson Harbor to do pastimes groups. We're also partnering with the Arnold's Park Library to do pastime groups, and we just love to be out in the community.
You might learn as much from the people listening to you as they are getting from you, too.
I learn more.
I bet you do. I don't doubt it at all. Mary, thank you. And we got to come back and visit again, but just so tickled to be able to come in here and talk to you about. And the event tomorrow starts at when?
It starts at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Come to the museum
Come to the museum first and then go stroll.
Go stroll and come back to the museum to hear the musical groups and just hang out.
Wonderful. Thank you for being with me.
Thanks, Jeff. This was fun.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Oh, I'm giddy. Mary Drier here from the Dickinson County Museum joining us. Thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by the headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Ruthven Locker at the Lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.